Oh, from Sydney. Hello, Martin. So far away from here. I'm in the position, as you can see. I'm on the Feldioara fortress. And lucky you and lucky me, today it's a festive day. Are the days of the village. So the Teutonic Knights came this morning, came back to their fortress, and they are up there. And now the group of ladies that you can see behind me, dressed in the Romanian folklorical suits, they also have a small moment to do into the fortress today. And I think it will be a very interesting tour today for you, because I will talk a little bit about the crusades, and the the impact of one of the crusades over the Christian church. We have like 3 more minutes till everything will start. Here we are on a small hill where the fortress were built many years ago, many centuries ago. In fact, 779 years to be more precisely. It was built in here. Welcome, Sam, Diana. I've told you all the times before every tour I have done in here in Romania, and I told you about the Teutonic Knights. You can see the group of ladies taking a picture, and now I'm here at the headquarters of the Teutonic Knights from Transylvania, and you will be able to see it much closer. I wait another 2 minutes till the official time. The people are coming in here to visit it. You can see on the hill a tower of another church. The fortress of the Teutonic Knights was going with the walls till that church from the hill, from the village. It was a very larger place in here. Welcome, Arun. And very soon I hope the signal will be okay. In here. Hello, Ashley, Camillo, Chelsea, Arun. Okay, so we have under 1 minute, and I will start my stories telling you about the Crusades, because connected with the Crusades we have the orders of knights from later. The gimbal, it's working, but it's an old gimbal, Arun. Till next week, I hope I will have a better gimbal, which will not move like this one. So you know that when the Crusades start, it appeared the first order of knights, the Hospitaller Knights, the actual Malta Knights, in 1099. Then in 1118, the famous Templars, and pretty much after the Templars was formed 1190 or something like this, was formed the Order of the Teutonic Knights. It's a German order, led on a while by Hermann von Salza, one of the most important leaders of the Teutonic Knights. And those Teutonic Knights came here in Transylvania at the invitation of King Andrew II of Hungary. I remember to you, Hungary, the Hungarian Kingdom, conquest Transylvania from the Romanians after about 100 years of battles. And around 1200, Transylvania, with the majority Romanian population, was under the Hungarian occupation. So that's why the Hungarian King Andrew II invited here those German knights to defend the frontier of the Hungarian kingdom by the attacks of the Cumans. Cumans being a migrating population coming from the east, like the Avars, like the Longobards, like the Magyars, the Hungarians, like the Huns, the Slavs, all those populations which starting to came from the east, starting with the year 280. So at the end of the 3rd century after Christ. And those Cumans were settled in Moldova, the area of Romania from the east, and those different knights groups interact and work together better. Actually, in Romania, we had starting with 1241 the Hospitaller Knights settled in the southwest of the country, near the Danube, with the same purpose of defense. And these Teutonic Knights, here in Transylvania, into the center of the actual Romania, stayed here between 1211 and 1225. They couldn't interact too much because the historical periods were different, and also they were at a pretty high, big distance one to the other. Here you can see a part of the old walls of the fortress. As you can see, throwing windows, shooting windows, big buttresses to keep the walls standing. And the main gate, guarded by a mobile iron gate, like had in those years many castles and many fortresses in Europe. So these Teutonic Knights are coming here and starting to build fortresses by wood and dirt. They will receive the permission, the allowance of the Hungarian king to build stone fortresses only later, after about 10 years, around 1122. But till there, they will build these wooden and dirt fortresses in here. So one of the fortresses built by them, it was the one from Bran, where is now the famous Dracula's castle, also a fortress built by the Teutonic Knights from wood. The one from Brașov, from the Sprang Hill, and many others. M-am întors. I entered into the fortress, which was renovated like 7 years ago, and I will try to go up to see much better from the walls, everything. So when they start the Crusades, the Western society of Europe was divided in mainly 3 social classes. In Latin, laboratores, the peasants, the workers; bellatores, the warriors, the knights; and oratores, the priests. You can see the view from here. And those laboratores, those peasants, was working mostly on the fields of the church, producing richness for the Catholic Church. And those bellatores, those knights, they were fighting with the enemies, but pretty much they were pretty bored themselves. So when they were bored, they were starting to attack those communities of villagers, to rob, to kill, to do a lot of stuff, and of course diminishing the income of the church, which wasn't very good for the priest with a high rank into the Catholic Church. So they decided one day to do something with those which were attacking their villagers and their richness. So one of the best decisions they took, it was the one to send those knights in the crusade at Jerusalem to liberate it from the Muslims, and if they will die in battle against the non-believers, they receive the promise to go straight to heaven, and plus all the richness they could take will be there. So in this way they will become extremely rich people. So I hope that the signal it's okay, and you can hear me and see me well. I'm pretty surrounded by walls in here, so that's why I talk about the signal. So those knights starting to go to the crusades, and first of all was formed a group of the Hospitallers. The complete name was the Knights of the Hospital St. John from Accra. Then the Templars, which invented the travel check. You know the procedure. You was going to the crusade, put the money that you want to take it with you on the hands of the Templar Knights from France, from England, from your place. You will travel, and when you arrive on the Holy Land, the travel knights, which were already there, they will pay you your money minus their their bonus. So they invented this travel check, and in the same time they invented a very good way to make money, a lot of money, as you know. And they were killed finally by the kings of France, which need their richness, because he was very poor in that moment, or in that. And the third order of knights was those Teutonic Knights, which actually, after a lot of years of battle against the Muslims, Terry, okay. So the country where is this fortress is Romania. Transylvania, it's one of the historical regions of Romania, and this fortress was built here by the Teutonic Knights, restored 7-8 years ago, and originally built, as I said already, was around 1211, between 1211 and 1225, when the Teutonic Knights were placed, were colonized in here by the Hungarian Kingdom, which occupied Transylvania from the Romanians after 100 years of fight. So in these crusades, I read the book written by one of the Muslims from Syria, from that area, and that writer, it says that actually, briefly speaking, the Muslims were fighting peacefully between themselves, and one day arrived the first crusaders, and starting to kill them and to conquer their fortresses, their cities, their places. So they were forced to start to defend themselves, and when they starting to defend themselves properly and in a very good way, under the command of Sarrazin, it was after couple of decades. I will try to enter inside of the tower where I'm right now, hoping that the signal will not betray me. So here it's a small exhibition with things which was discovered here inside of the fortress. As you can see, jewelries, keys, nails. Okay. Pottery, of course, things made by stone. Those were discovered inside of the fortress, was composing one of the fireplaces from inside of the fortress. So this is a part of the fragments displayed in this small museum. Of course, all the towers have at least one floors, not even not two or three, to be able to defend themselves better and to have good positions to shoot into the enemy. I will try to get out into the yard again. Okay. I'm at a lower level. You can see in front of me where the knights are. It's the former well of the fortress, which was rebuilt by the archaeologists during of the time when they repaired and renovate the fortress. And a little bit forward, it's are the remains of the fortress of the church which existed in here, because the name of the fortress was Marienburg, in German the city of Mary, or Virgin Mary, which was the protector of this Knights Order. Continuing my story with these crusades and with the Crusaders, the Fourth Crusade was the one which actually put an end to the schism between the Catholics, between the Christians, because this schism started before way before 1054, when this Fourth Crusade was developing in the actual Istanbul, former Constantinople. And it's a schism we started after the falling of the Roman Empire, when the Greeks and the Romans, the Greeks being obviously the majority of population into the eastern side of the Roman Empire, and the Latins, which remain into the western side of the Roman Empire, starting to live there, were starting to separate one to the other, because their scholars, their intellectuals, stopped to study in Latin, the one from eastern side of the empire, or in Greek, the one from the Latin side of the empire. So they doesn't have the same fountains of knowledge to read. They doesn't have the same preoccupation, and because of this, they starting to go away on separate directions, one to the other, and the separation between the Christian Church from Rome, led by the Pope, one of the most important bishops of the Christian Church, called Primus Inter Pares, which it means the first between the equals, because the organization of the Christian Church was an organization based on equality between the members. But he had a more preeminent right and position in front of the others, not as a leader, but as a very respected bishop of Rome, which was the city where Peter taught and was executed in the same time. So this difference between those two parts of the Christians starting to be more and more obvious with the year 560, when on a Christian council in Toledo appeared a first separation between the Christians from the east and the ones from the west, in saying the creed. Into the creed was introduced into that council from Toledo that thing which is called today filioque, which say that the Holy Ghost came not only from the Father, but from the Son too. And this was one of the reasons of adversity between the Christians from the East and the ones from the West. And when in the moment when this Fourth Crusade was detoured from its way to Syria, was detoured to Istanbul, to Constantinople, the idea of the Germans and of the Latins was that the Christians from Byzantine Empire doesn't share the same values as theirs, so that's why they invaded and they robbed the city of Constantinople for about 3 days, like it was the tradition of the conquerors in those days. And they killed, they raped, they have done a lot of bad things against of their Christian brothers, actually. And that was the moment when this schism between those two churches became effective after about 300 years of slowly separation at the theological level. And because the people from here, from the East, were terrified by the violence of the attack and of the killings of the knights which came from the West. So look how a very simple moment in history, a siege and the killing of a city, could have a very important importance into the life of the largest church of today, the Christian church and the Christian religion. Pretty much the same thing was happened in Kosovo, the Serbian province, which today it's controlled by the Organization of the United Nations. When somewhere into the 18th century, during of the fights the west side, Diana, says that the Holy Spirit also from the Son. The Greek Orthodox Church or the Eastern Christian Church says that it came only from the Father. So I was telling you, look here, it's one of the shooting windows. You can take some good pictures from here. So those Teutonic those Teutonic Knights were invited in here, and they built exactly as they used to build into the old noble from Europe. I was telling you that in Kosovo was happened pretty much the same thing, because during of the wars between the Austrians and the Turks and the Russians, it was a moment when the Turks attacked in Kosovo, in that region of Serbia, and the Serbians, terrified by the coming of the Turks, they left the province in mass proportion, in such a big number. Then when the Turks came and brought their colonists, they actually changed the ethnic composition of Kosovo. So today the Kosovars could say that they are the majority of population, 50 plus 1 percentage, Muslims and not Serbians, just because of a simple fact of war, which was happened 300 years ago. So the facts in history could have in the future very surprising endings sometimes. Yes, it's the original version, Arun, exactly as you said. It's the original version of the creed established by the priests on the 7th ecumenical councils, called ecumenical councils because were patronated by the emperor from Constantinople. So from up here, the people from the fortress could see till very far away, till the Carpathians, all this territory, which was controlled by them, by taking all the money from all the taxes from the passing of the Carpathians, all the taxes from the villages controlled by them. So actually, with all the promises of the Hungarian king that he will give them this Bursa county, as it is called, Brașov county from today. It used to be called in those times after the river Bursa. They actually, this king Andrew II took the fortress and all that possession back from the Teutonic Knights in the moment when they started to, I don't know how to say, they tried to organize here a Teutonic state, independent, on a territory which was previously conquered by the Hungarian kingdom. And they also obtained the protection of the Pope, these Teutonic Knights, instead of the Hungarian king. And in that moment, the Hungarian king said, you know, guys, I don't like that. So he forced them by the force of the arms to leave this place. And they left and goes to Poland from today, where they built another fortress called as well Marienburg, which is a beautiful city today in Poland, into a city. And from there, they left as well. Also, because the Polish king doesn't like the idea that those knights became too powerful and too rich for his taste, to say like this. So that's why he decided to send them away from that place, from his land. And here it's a very interesting moment because it's somehow connected to Romanian history. Because we have in our history ruling in Moldova. Moldova is the eastern part of the actual Romania, and actually together with the Republic of Moldova from today was forming the medieval state of Moldova. We lost the eastern side of Moldova in 1812 when the Russians came and took it from us. That territory was reunited with Romania in 1918, and then in 1940, Stalin and the Soviets took it back again and transformed it into a Soviet republic, which now you know as the Republic of Moldova. So the ruler of Moldova in around 1300, when took part this fight against the Polish and the Teutonic Knights, was a ruler called Alexandru cel Bun, or Alexander the Good. So because he was a friend of the Polish king asked him to send him some knights, some fighters, to help him to win this battle against the Teutonic Knights. So our ruler sent a group of soldiers, of knights from Moldova, Romanians, and they participated to the siege. And here was a very interesting moment because into the moment of the battle, the Teutonic Knights came out from the fortress in their big armors, and it was very difficult for our fighters to defeat themselves because they doesn't have such big armors, only light ones. And they realized that the single chance that they have, it was to go inside of the forest, which was close to the battlefield. So they enter into the forest. The Teutonic Knights followed them, and there, in between the very dense vegetation, for the Teutonic Knights was very difficult to fight against our soldiers, which defeat them very easy. So that's why I said we had an interference into this battle of the Polish with the Teutonic Knights. As you can see, even here, our Teutonic Knights are are pretty bored and they try to fight themselves, maybe to to train a little bit. Yes, guerrilla warfare of sorts. Yes, Diana. This guerrilla warfare, it was something that we applied all the time because, as I told you at the other meetings, at the other live sessions, if in the west of Europe the battles were between maximum 5,000 soldiers, and here we talk usually about at least 60,000 Turks and 20, 30,000 Romanians. So when you have these big numbers of soldiers, imagine that it was very difficult to defeat such a big army into an open space. So that's why the guerrilla warfare was something that we have done all the time, poisoning the wells, burning the villages, burning the grains, the warehouses, everything, just to try to defend ourselves and to attack the enemies during of the day, during of the night, to try to defend them. So this is the way as we was trying to fight in here against the invaders, and of course that we didn't participate to the Crusades because we had a lot of troubles then to fight against the Hungarians in Transylvania, which tried to invade us, to conquer us, and because their army were superior and better trained than ours, plus they had the support of the Western countries and of the Pope from Rome, and we were mostly agricultures and shepherds. It was pretty logical to be defeated, even that only after 100 years of fight against a superior army of the Hungarians. Anyway, what is very interesting is the fact that after this conquest, we and the Hungarians cooperate very well one to the other, and together we stayed 200 years in front of the Turks, like a closed door of Europe, because if they try to conquer Europe, they have to conquer us, the northern border secure, and all the time when they try to fight against us or against the Hungarians, they lost. And one of Romanian rulers, which one of them, so one of the most famous, it's the grandfather of Vlad the Impaler Dracula, Mircea the Elder, which even today it's the single Christian prince which defeat an Ottoman army led by the Sultan himself. I accentuated this, led by the Sultan himself, because Ottoman armies defeated by the Christian prince were many, but none with the Sultan on the battlefield. And the presence of the Sultan on the battlefield was extremely important for the morale of the troops, as you can imagine. So another one was Vlad the Impaler Dracula, which also was a very good fighter against the Turks. Ștefan cel Mare, or Stephen the Great in Moldova, another ruler which defeat the armies of Mohammed II, the conqueror of Constantinople. And plus the Hungarians also had their battles won against the Turks, including those victories with Hunia di János, as they call it. It's a Romanian ruler of Transylvania, assimilated by the Hungarian nobility as Hunia di János. This is the Hungarized name of Iancu de Hunedoara. So that's why I said we stayed with them in front of the Turks for about 200 years, till 1526, when at Mohacs the Hungarians lost in front of the Turks, and then we had the first siege of Vienna by the Turks, and they were very, very close to invade the entire Western Europe. But when they were actually extremely close to do it in 1683, it was of King Sobieski of Poland, which actually came and helped the people from Viennese, to push back the Turks. So here it was a territory where we had a lot of fights during the centuries, because wait, era să cad. Because in here we had a frontier between the Orient and the Occident, and everybody who wants to go to Vienna, to the Occident, have to pass by here. So they have to try to conquer us or to defeat us somehow. Here I'm getting out on the walls, on the exterior walls of the fortress, to take some other images for you. Yes, it's jumping because I was getting down from some staircases, and that's why. I don't have the gimbal recommended by Hego, but I will buy it in the next weeks. So my next transmissions will be smoother than this one. Okay. Till this moment, if you have some questions to ask me, I'll wait you to do it. Maybe I didn't tell you something that you wanted to know. Okay. Because I was speaking today about the Teutonic Knights, I'd have to tell you that the archaeologists which here a number of Teutonic Knights, as far as I can see, probably around 50 people. So here it's one of the houses. I will show you the houses, how it was looking, where they was used to live. Probably a garrison of about 50. Yes, I'm glad, Arun, but I want to tell you something now, connecting it with my life from tomorrow. So here were the houses. You can see are pretty big, and they had at least one floor till the superior part of the walls. So the archaeologists said that here previously they found the ruins of a Cistercian monastery, and the Cistercian monks, they were an order of monks coming from the west of Europe, Catholic monks, coming here in this territory controlled by the Hungarians. So they had here a small monastery for a very short period of time. But their main monastery, they've built it at Cârța, and I will go tomorrow to Cârța to show it to you, because that first Cistercian monastery from Cârța is the one which influenced all the Gothic from Transylvania and from Romania, because the first Gothic construction was developed there at Cârța. Today, from that monastery remain mostly ruins of the building of the monastery, and of course the church remain entirely. So I hope I will be able to enter inside and show it to you. It was a very simple church and a very simple construction, because the life of the Cistercian monks, it was a very simple life, and this simple life was reflected into the Gothic promoted by them, which is a very simple Gothic, not a very, I don't know, a flamboyant Gothic, I can say it, using a French word, like is the Gothic from Belgium, for example, or from France, with so many decorations. It's a very simple one, because the Cistercian monks, they used to say their motto, it was ora et labora, pray, and work. So this was pretty much their way of life. So before to end the story, yes, I can zoom on the knights, but I have to go there to show them, to see them better, because I think they are going inside. What you saw there as knights, it's a drawing for taking pictures. This order of knights, of Teutonic Knights, as far as I know, still exists in Germany. You can see them. I will go closer. And as far as I read, it was a delegation of them coming in here since 7 years ago into a visit to their former fortress. Dați voie să vă fac o poză? Am niște clienți care sunt pe live acum cu ei și vor să vă vadă. Now you can see them and take a picture. Am niște clienți din state și din Occident. Hai că ies pe aici, pe lângă voi, pe ziduri. Now you can see them taking a picture. Bye bye. We're going further. Mulțumesc frumos. And here it's another part of the walls. When I try to show you the rest of the village which is called in Romanian Feldioara, came from a Hungarian expression, Feldvar, which it means I will tell you, which it means the fortress made by dirt and wood, which was the first one. So coral, why do they have different crosses on their fronts? The cross is black on white because they were mourning. They were mourning. Yes, the knights wearing Nike is true. Are modern knights. So they have a black cross on the white font because it says that they are mourning the dead into the wars against the Muslims. So that's why that black cross. The other ones, as you know, the Templars, they had a red cross on a white font of the blouse, and the Hospitallers, they had initially a white cross on a red back, on a red font, and the Hospitallers, you know, probably are the actual Knight Malt. So they had a very complicated white cross on also red back. So and the cross, it actually is the Latin cross because they were coming from the west, Gloria, as you know, coral. So that's why it's that cross. As for the Nike, maybe they are running faster with the Nike, and they are not using horses so much today. Even that the horses are much better to protect the environment than the cars, or even the electric cars. Yeah, it's complicated. Okay, I will leave the fortress now. I hope you learn new things about the knights, the crusaders, the crusades, and probably tomorrow I will tell you many other things about the Gothic, because that's why we are going there. And somewhere this month I will redo again the tour in Brașov, my hometown, and also the town where Dracula, the famous character of course Bram Stoker, our ruler Vlad the Impaler, had a love story with a German girl, and fortunately we still have the home where this girl, which became the I don't know, kind of a wife of Dracula, lived in Brașov, and I will show it to you during of my tour in Brașov. And I will tell you more about their love story, and I will connect this love story of Dracula with my second visit to Dracula's castle, which is close to Brașov at Bran. Of course, if you want to learn more about all the tours that I have in here in Transylvania. Yeah, no, is that tomorrow is the Cârța Monastery. The Brașov tour, I think, is the next weekend, Coral. If you look on my profile from here, you will see the tour because I announce it, and you can book it just to be there. And then probably on September 11th, I will be on a very beautiful area near Brașov, on the mountains which are surrounding this beautiful area, for to enjoy together with you the colors of the fall, which was starting to appear little by little till then. And I will dare to to recite in front of you a couple of poetries of the Romanian poets from the last generation, which are unknown for you, I'm sure. And I want to show you that they wrote well, and they were very gifted also. Unfortunately, the marketing of Romania, it's a very bad one. Our government and our politicians are not very willing. Who looks after this site? What do you mean? In the city, it's a small party, as I told you. Coral, can you tell me what do you mean with the question? Okay. It maintains by the county council. Yes, I understand now. It's in the property, and it's managed by the county council of Brașov, which of course belongs to the Romanian state. So the Romanian state is involved in here, paid money for the renovation, took some funds from European Union, and it keeps clean and tidy by a county service of Brașov. As for the example, the Bran Castle or Dracula's Castle, it's in the property of one of the... no, I didn't have to pay today to come in, and usually I don't pay to enter in into the majority of the fortresses from Romania, because I'm a licensed travel guide. As well, I'm trainer to the guides, to the travel guide school. So my ID, my special ID, led me to enter without pay fees, entrance fees to the monuments across Romania. Which I have to pay, it's the gas for the car which transport me here. This is something else. But the entrance fee, no, only the gas for the car. So yes, it's a law in Romania with this, and as far as I know, pretty much everywhere in the world is the same rule and regulation, because a travel guide doesn't enter into the objective, into the touristical objective to visit it. He enters because he works. He have to show it to some tourist. Imagine that I enter Yes, I do tours of the painting churches, Diana. They are pretty far away from me, are about 400 kilometers from here, one way, 400 kilometers back. I want to go there, but I don't know how I will do it. Probably in the spring, or in this fall. I will let you know on my profile from time. I just put on my profile the church from Voronezh, just as a coming soon tour. But I want to go there because um, are really beautiful and have beautiful stories of the frescoes and beautiful symbols of the frescoes and how are they painted. Unfortunately, this year the tourism in Romania was pretty low comparing with the last years, especially because of the war from Ukraine, which is near our borders, and the people are pretty afraid to come in here for tourism. But I can assure you, nothing happens. The life it's normal in Romania. Uh, the war is on the other side of the border, and the Russians will not send rockets in here because they know that this will mean war with NATO and United States, and they don't want that. Yes, Maramuresh and the painting churches are pretty far away from me. I'm in the middle of Romania, it's true, but I have like 400 kilometers till there. That's why I'm telling you that the tourism in Romania was pretty low this year, because otherwise I could travel with my tours, with my regular tours, with my tourists, and when I'm off duty with them, I can go to the touristical objective to do a live for you. And then my travel expenses will be more reduced than now. So that's why I said it's complicated to travel over there. I will stay mostly in this area of Brașov, where I have pretty many things around me. I have like 5 touristical objectives and important ones. I have Sibiu, I have Sighișoara, I have Dracula's castle, I have Brașov, my home city, where Dracula was in romance with a German lady. I have these Teutonic Knights here. I have fortified churches around me, so I have places to go and do tours. Also Sibiu and Sighișoara, which are also a little bit far away, but could be done. Plus, it comes the winter, and in the winter we have a lot of traditions and customs like you have in your countries, but I will have the opportunity to present you ours. So yes, I have some great tours planned. I want to show you, for example, in December, and I will ask you to not forget this. I want to show you in December something that we call butchering the pig. It's something that we do traditionally after the half of December, because the peasants here, they raise a pig, 2 or 3 in their homes, feed with grains, with grass, with fresh stuff, and they kill the pig and they butcher it with the whole family, preparing the sausages, the meat, everything else to have it for the winter. And I will be more than happy to show you how we butchering it, how we prepare all the meat of the pig. Will be probably a transmission of about 1 hour, even more. So it's something that it happens mostly in Romania and in some other countries around in those years. Then I will have the carols on Christmas Day, the carols of the New Year's Eve. I will explain you all the traditions, all the symbols, all the things. So we have great tours together to do it. So it's not only fortresses, knights and this kind of stuff and stones, but also traditions, culture, dances, music. I will show you everything, and probably starting with the next year with other tours a little bit far away from here, even in Alba Iulia, where we have a beautiful Vauban fortress, one of the largest in Romania. So stay close to me, follow my account, and take part of my tours, because otherwise you have no idea what you are missing it. I'm thank you that you follow me at this tour. I hope you like it. As I said, I hope you learn a lot of stuff from me, and I wait you tomorrow if you want to join me to Cârța to learn more about the Gothic. Yes, local customs and practices. I will show you, and I will tell you, I will explain you everything at the right moment, everything. Okay, thank you very much to you all, and I wish you, as I say usually, good morning, good day, or good night. From Romania, all my best wishes to you.